So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. For many of us who were born in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, spending the holidays at our relatives was a very big flex. It was something to look forward to. I, for one, have very vivid recollections of how my brothers and I would spend part of the summer break at my cousins and how we longed going there with great anticipation. Unlike my mother, who would only let us go out in the evenings for 1 hour after the sun is down, this aunt of mine, should I say, was more liberal. Immediately after breakfast, she would let us go out and play and play and play, only returning when we were hungry. And after eating, off we went to keep on playing. It really is great, fond, cherished memories. This was the case with the beautiful, charming 8-year-old DEMERIA Hollingsworth. DEMERIA's mother, Rihanna Smith, had taken her baby to her mother's at Humboldt, Tennessee, to spend the summer holiday. It was mapped out to be an exciting period for DEMERIA, especially considering the fact that her 12-year-old cousin Anita was coming also for the holidays. Well, Anita is not the actual name of this 12-year-old, but for the purpose of the story, we will refer to her as Anita. So yes, DEMERIA was pretty over the roof that Anita will be there with her at Grandma's. Detailed imageries of how they would spend time together, riding bicycles, playing games, and doing fun girls stuff must have occupied her mind. She couldn't wait. So while at Grandma's, DEMERIA and Anita shared a room. They shared a bunk bed. Anita stayed below and DEMERIA used the upper bunk. On this fateful day, 8-year-old DEMERIA and her 12-year-old cousin Anita had gotten into a little misunderstanding about an iPhone, possibly about whose turn it was to use the iPhone. After the fallout, which seemed like every other fallout that two little sisters would have, it looked like it was all settled. They went about the rest of their day. They had dinner, took a bath, probably did night prayers with Grandma, and then they retired to bed. Little, very little did anyone know that for Anita, it was far from over. She nursed an evil, sinister, and nefarious plan for her little baby cousin. In the dead of the night, when Anita was sure that everybody was asleep, she came down from her lower bunk and then climbed up all the way to DEMERIA's bed, where the 8-year-old laid fast asleep. Anita grabbed some beddings that were right at the corner of the bed and she put it over her cousin's face, and then she began pressing down viciously, intensely, vigorously. She pressed down with all of her might, ensuring that a wisp of air could not get to DEMERIA. DEMERIA did struggle. Oh yes, she did. She fought. She struggled. She was grappling, trying to get away, kicking and wrestling. But no, Anita was older. She was bigger. She was stronger. And she had taken DEMERIA unawares. DEMERIA could not get Anita's weight off of her. And after a while, struggling beneath Anita, she stopped struggling. She was dead. Anita had smothered her 80-year-old cousin over a minor misunderstanding about an iPhone. When 12-year-old Anita was sure and certain that she had killed her baby cousin, she cleaned her up, wiped her face of every spittle, every mucker, everything, cleaned up her face, and then she positioned her body in a way to make it seem as though she was still sleeping. And then she climbed down to her own bed and went to sleep, while the little baby that she had just killed was turning cold right on top of her. One can only imagine Grandma's horror the next morning when she woke up to find that her healthy, active granddaughter, whom she had been with the previous day, was lying cold and stiff on the bed. She must have wondered what on the planet happened to DEMERIA. There was one way to find out: CCTV. When Anita suffocated DEMERIA a night before, she had taken all necessary steps to ensure that her track was covered. But what she did not know was that there was a CCTV camera right in the room that covered the whole incident in black and white. Such shock on the faces of the police team when they retrieved and watched this live horror unfold. Anita was quickly taken into custody while DEMERIA was taken to the morgue. At this point, I'm sure many of you are startled, just as startled as I was when I heard about this story. But not only startled, I believe that we are also curious. Curious to know what the law's position is on these kinds of cases involving a very young murderer, alleged murderer. Is she going to prison? Is she going to plead insanity? Will she be charged for murder or a lesser offense? Will she get maximum punishment? Will she be tried as an adult or as a juvenile? What will it be? Well, the District Attorney General, Frederick Aji, released a statement revealing these facts. 1. Anita has been charged for 2 offenses: first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. Tampering with evidence, of course, when she tried to cover up her crime by cleaning the baby's body and positioning it to look as though the child was still asleep. That's tampering with evidence. 2. There is a possibility that she may be tried in a juvenile court or in a regular adult court. And the next question is, what determines whether it's going to be a juvenile court or a regular court? First, the judge of the juvenile court can either transfer the case to a regular court depending on the facts of the case, or the office of the district attorney. The district attorney is just like the state prosecutor, the lawyer of the government that prosecutes criminals. They are called state attorneys, district attorneys. In Nigeria, they are called DPP, Director of Public Prosecution. Same thing. So these state prosecutors, these district attorneys, can petition the judge of the juvenile court demanding or requesting that the case be moved to an adult court. It might be rare, but it is still possible. At this point, you may like to ask, so Neze, what is the difference? What is the difference if she's tried in a juvenile court vis-a-vis a regular court? There are a number of variations, but I will tell you just a few. 1. The regular court uses the system, the jury system. So there is a jury who hears the case and pronounces a conviction of either guilty or not guilty, and then hands over to the judge to sentence. So sentencing is different from conviction. The jury convicts. The jury says, okay, this person is guilty or not guilty, but they do not have the capacity to mete out the punishment. They are not law experts. They are not judges. They do not even know what the punishment for these crimes is. They will only hear the facts of the case and pronounce a verdict of either guilty and not guilty. Then hands over to the judge, who will now pronounce sentencing and say, okay, you have been found guilty by the jury. You are now to serve 20 years behind bars, or you are now to die by hanging. That is sentencing, which is done by the judge. And this system of judge and jury applies in the regular adult court. But in a juvenile court, there is no jury. It is just the judge. That's one difference. Secondly, the juvenile court is geared towards rehabilitation, remodification of that person that committed a crime, not really punitive. While the regular court is driven by punitive measures. Yes, rehabilitation would come, but rehabilitation is secondary, not primary. So the regular court punishes, while the juvenile court looks more at rehabilitating. And as such, thirdly, that brings us to our third point. In the juvenile court, the punishments, even if there's going to be sentencing, there can be sentencing of imprisonment in juvenile courts, but they are mostly shorter than the regular courts. So it's mostly a combination of maybe a shorter sentence and programs, rehabilitation programs, intensely supervised probation. So the juvenile court is not trying to condemn that child to be a worthless criminal. It seeks to save the child. And that is why in the juvenile court, you do not hear words like the accused is guilty. You hear terminologies like the juvenile is delinquent. Also, in adult courts, the proceedings are public. Anybody can walk in and observe the public hearing. It's a public hearing. Journalists can come in and get details of it and publish, but in the juvenile court is usually closed camera. Journalists are not allowed in. It is held in private. So these are some of the differences between the juvenile court and the adult court. You see, this case, as shocking and traumatizing as it is, I believe that it is a wake-up call for you, for every one of us watching me, everyone who is a parent or acts in parental capacity. Listen, it is not normal, it is not usual, it is not typical for a 12-year-old to have a little friction with her baby sister, her baby cousin, and the next thought that comes to her head is how to kill that child. No, it is not normal behavior. It is not typical for a 12-year-old to premeditate murder and carry it out and go ahead to conceal her crime, to attempt concealing her crime, alter with the evidence, reposition the body, clean the spit and the face of the dead child. That is extreme. She knew exactly what she was doing. This is not the case of two sisters getting into a friction and maybe accidentally one pushes the other and a casualty occurs. No, this was planned. She conceived the idea, she strategized, she waited, she carried it out, and she tried covering it up. That girl knew what killing somebody was. She turned 13 only a few days after she committed that alleged murder. So she isn't that young not to know what she did. She knew what she did. And this makes me wonder, what kind of foundation, what kind of background, what type of setup, what kind of household is such a child coming from? What kind of home did she come from to give her not just the idea, but the capacity to carry out murder at the age of 12? Did she come from a home where violence and aggression was the order of the day? What do you think? As we speak, I would like us to engage in the comment section, because this topic affects and has a bearing with every single one of us. It's important we have this conversation. What do you think? Yes, I know that some naughty children do come out of good homes, but hey, I'm talking probability here. I'm not talking exceptions. I'm talking chances. What are the chances? What is the probability? What is the possibility that a good, decent child raised in love, raised in a peaceful, violence-free environment from a stable home will go on a short holiday and murder her cousin slowly and painfully as she did? The chances are slim. So I believe that first, this is a wake-up call for those that create and remain in relationships of brutality and hostilities. The children are watching. It's beyond you. If you have chosen to ruin your life, that's on you. But have consideration for the children that are observing everything. They see, they know, they will replicate. You are not only damaging yourself, you are damaging children who are witnessing these assaults and aggressions. You may be creating or breeding a monster. Secondly, there is a word now, a phrase called lazy parenting. But I would like to cut our parents some slack. I wouldn't call it lazy parenting. I would call it convenient parenting. We are all living a fast-paced life. There is so much to do. There is always so much to be done in so little time. And adding the neediness of children to the endless to-do list. Oh my God, it's overwhelming, and I can admit that. So what's the next best step? What's the next easiest thing to do? We hand them over the screens, televisions, laptops, tablets, iPads, name it. We give it to them to get them off our back. Whew! Yes, I know. Aren't we all guilty in varying degrees? Aren't we all? But what we are failing to take into account is that these unchecked, unrestricted, uncontrolled, and unsupervised access that our children have with the internet, have to these electronics, pose very significant risk to their well-being. Talking medically, let us talk medically first. It strains their eyes, it alters sleep patterns, it hinders brain advancement, and it impedes development of essential interpersonal skills. So we are breeding future socially awkward people who spent a major chunk of their childhood interacting with devices instead of human beings. And there are a lot of dangers in doing that. Who recalls back then, especially those that grew up in countries where power supply interruption was the norm? Who remembers that it is when NEPA takes light and you are lying down doing nothing that the brightest ideas start to come into your head? You start to think, you start to get creative, you start to have depth to your thoughts, you start to come up with ideas. And sometimes in the middle of those thoughts, when the light comes back on, you abandon those creative thought process and you run to watch television. This shows us that those moments without screens are our best and most creative moments. But we are denying our children of such brain depths, of such creativity, of such moments of boredom. They are always preoccupied by the screens. But these are medical and psychological downtimes to doing this. But there are worse implications, like what we have on our plates today with DEMERIA and Anita. Giving these children unsupervised, unlimited screen times can expose them to inappropriate content on the internet. You have no idea how smart these children are, how quick they are to figure things out, how well they can get to things, get to see things, and get to watch them in the blink of an eye. Have you ever been online? You're on your own, maybe you're browsing somewhere and you just see an image pop up under. Venezuelan girls are ready to meet you. Click here. Available women, you see a woman with bra. Available women in Italy are dying to know you. Click here, and you are wondering, who are these? Did I ask them that I want available women in Venezuela? Even when you haven't visited similar sites, you get some pop-ups that you are wondering, what is this? The internet is a scary place. We must guard and guide our children. My 7-year-old son comes back from school one day and he's telling me, Mommy, my friends have phones. My friends bring phones to school. And I'm there wondering, why is a parent giving a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old a mobile device? Worse, a smartphone. Why? Because you want to feel hip? You want your child to feel hip and sophisticated at the detriment of what may come? You might sit there and say, oh, I didn't put internet on the phone. There's no internet. He doesn't have access to those things. Forgetting that children are very smart and they can transfer whatever they want from one phone, from their friend's phone, from their classmate's phone, into their phone. It is very possible that this girl in question, this child in question, has been exposed to inappropriate, cruel content. And she exemplified it on her cousin. Let us be very mindful to the kind of access to screens that we are giving our children. Do let us know what you think down in the comment section, all that I have explained, and what you think about this case. What do you think led a child as little as 12 years to carry out this evil act? Do you think it's because of what she has seen? Do you think she has been groomed by experience? Do you think it's due to the content she has watched, the movies she has seen? Do you believe that she knew exactly what she was doing? Or do you think that she is a kid that didn't have an idea of the severity of her actions? Do you believe that she should be tried in a juvenile court? Or do you think that she should go straight to a regular court? Do you believe in rehabilitation, counseling, supervised probation? Or do you think that that girl should see the four corners of a prison cell? Do you think that this might be a case of mental health issues? Well, I'm expecting that defense. I'm going to follow up on the case. Or do you believe that she did this in her most lucid moments? She is not insane. This is carefully, well thought out, premeditated murder. What are your thoughts? And if you were in the position of a judge, what would you do? Also, given the new realities of the modern world and what we are seeing now, are you an advocate of letting your child go elsewhere to spend days and weeks away from your eyes and supervision? Sleep dates, what do they call it? There are different names they call it these days. Play dates, sleepovers, vacation holidays with relations. Are you still open to that kind of arrangements for your children? Or for you, is it a no-no? Do share all of your thoughts and your feelings down in the comment section. May the soul of the beautiful, charming DEMERIA and the souls of all the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. May God give her family the fortitude to bear this loss. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, see my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued because we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.